And welcome to the Karen Demircyan Sports Complex in Yerevan, the capital of Armenia. This is the AIBA Youth World Championships, and we've got to the sharp end. We've got to the business end. These are the semi-finals. We're about to see 20 different bouts, 2 in each of the 10 individual weight categories. This first one is a light flyweight, a 49-kilogram limit in the red corner. That's Yerevan Akhmadaliev of Uzbekistan. Opposite him in the blue corner, representing the Philippines, is Jade Bornea. This bout number 328. There's been a frenzy of activity over the past few days. It started on the 29th. Quarterfinals were a couple of days ago. Rest day yesterday for all of those fighters who'd made it this far. A much needed rest day as well. Referee brings the two fighters to the center of ring to touch gloves. And now we have our two competitors. Akhmadaliev, 18 years old, Bornea, 17. 10-ounce gloves they're wearing, vests and head guards, as always. 5 scoring judges around ringside. 2 on the far side, 1 on each of the other 3 sides. A scoring shot is one that is thrown with either hand, obviously. But when the knuckle part of the glove makes contact with the front or side of the face or upper body above the belt, it's got to be a clean punch. No blocked or deflective shots count. That was a neat left hand there from Akhmadaliev. It's been a busy start to the round for both of these two. Akhmadaliev fighting out of that southpaw stance. In fact, we've got 2 southpaws in there. Nice combination there from Bornea. Beat England's national elite champion Jack Bates in 16-12 in the last round. That was a good win for him. Trying to work the body with the left hand there, Akhmadaliev. This category, the lightest category out of the 10. Both missing with rather wild left hands. Of course, the tendency in amateur boxing is for the boxers to look for the single scoring shot. The referee just not issuing a warning, that's far more serious, but just, I think, indicating that the punches need to be kept up a little bit. Trying to come in behind that jab. He switched to an orthodox stance now, Jade Bornea, so he does like to switch a little bit. That's a good right hand from Bornea, though. That looked clean to me. And another good right hand, although that's a good riposte as well from Akhmadaliev. The right hand seemed to make contact with the side of the head. Akhmadaliev trying to walk him down a little bit and keep Bornea on the back foot. Just touching out that jab to gauge the range there from the man from the Philippines. Boxing really has become enormously popular there in recent years, and we all know the reason why. Certain Manny Pacquiao as the bell goes for the end of the first round. Busy, a lot of action from both fighters there. And it scored 6-5 to Bornea at the end of round 1. 5 judges ringside who will all score each round, giving a score to each fighter. And the way it works is that 3 scores for each fighter from each judge out of the 5 will be selected. And the 3 that are selected are the 3 that are closest to each other. So if a judge scores an 8, a 7, a 7, a 7 and a 6, then the 3 7s will be taken, totaling 21 divided by 3, and that's how you get a score of 7 for the round. Some good action there from both men. It's not always quite that straightforward, of course. If the judges' scores are 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, then it's the 4, the 5 and the 6 that will be taken into account. It's not as complex a system as some people like to make out. And these two really going for it now, toe to toe. Akhmadaliev just bending at the waist a little bit and coming in head first. He's not really looking where he's throwing these, and he's being picked off by Bornier, who looks a good operator, light on his feet. Stings in with that southpaw jab and then gets out of range before Akhmadaliev really can do anything about it. Does have that 1-point advantage after the opening 3 minutes. 3 3-minute rounds in these contests, of course. He never stops coming forward, Akhmadaliev, but again throws another left hand, and he just drops his head a little bit and takes his eye off what's happening in front of him when he does throw that punch. Bornier is a little bit cuter, and that's a good right hand again, in and out. Stings him and then gets out of range, but it's a good reply from Akhmadaliev, who is always coming forward. He does throw a lot of punches. He leaves himself a little bit open at times, but he's managing to score himself. Constant pressure on Bornier. He will draw inspiration, no doubt, from the likes of Manny Pacquiao, also Nonito Donaire. Pacquiao, of course, went through the weights, right from flyweight all the way up through welterweight to light middleweight at times. He's fighting Juan Manuel Marquez in the 4th match of their series. Nonito Donaire in action a week on Saturday against Jorge Arce. Super bantamweight level. Those two really flying the flag for the Philippines. Both fighters landing there. Akhmadaliev was caught with the punches. He was on the way in. But this has been a good opening bout. And again, Uzbekistani tags him with an overhand left. Oh, and he staggered there, Bornier. That was a good right hand from Akhmadaliev. And now can he pour on the pressure and try and take advantage? Hurting an opponent like that looks good, and psychologically it'll do a lot for him. It will still, though, just score the single point. There's not even an extra point for a knockdown or a standing 8 count, and he's in a bit of trouble here, Bornier. He was caught by 2 or 3 punches there again, but comes out of the neutral corner with one of his own. A lot of effort put in by those two, and Uzbekistan have opened up a big, big lead now. That's a whopping score of 13-6 in the 2nd round for Akhmadaliev. And it's the pressure he applies more than anything else. His technique is a little bit ragged at times, but he does come forward constantly and throws a lot of punches. And Bornier managed to stay away from those salvos in the opening 3 minutes, but he didn't manage to do so in the 2nd. He is giving age away in this fight, which at the age these fighters are can make a difference. The way the rules are structured, there can never be too much of a gap. Fighters born in 1994, 1995 qualify. Into the 3rd and final round, and Bornier really has got a lot of work to do here. (18-12) down. He's just got to let his hands go. But he's got to stay out of the way as well. It's a tall order, but having said that, he shaded the 1st round, and then Akhmadaliev ran away with the 2nd, so it can be done. Whoever wins this will go on to fight the gold medal bout against the winner of the next fight we'll see between Lalitha Polipali of India and Bin Ulf of China. Whoever loses this is guaranteed a bronze medal as well. And that was another good punch, a left hand coming in from Akhmadaliev. He does have that curious habit of really dropping his head as he throws these shots. Trying to jump in with the jab, Bornia, and then hit with the left hand. But the problem he's got is that because he has to force the pace here and try and force the issue, he is getting counter-punched. Akhmadaliev managed it again there, although he caught a nice right hand from Bornia. But he doesn't really seem to have the power to discourage Akhmadaliev. And a little bit of work to be done on the belt. Just making sure that the vest is tucked in. Strict rules in AIBA competitions. Nice left hand to the body. Should have scored for Akhmadaliev, then looks to cover up. And a good right hand as well. There wasn't all that much force behind it, but it made contact straight through the guard of Bornia. Bornia, the only fighter from the Philippines left in the competition. 23 countries represented in the semi-finals. Really a global event. 71 countries represented in total, from Uzbekistan, as we're watching here, to Australia, from the Philippines, as we're watching here as well, to Scotland. And from all over today, as we head into the last minute now of this third and final round between these two. And this has been, as I said, an entertaining start to the day's competition. It's not been cagey in the slightest. These have both come here to fight right from the first bell. And another left hand from Akhmadaliev just gets through. He tries to reply with a right of his own, Bornia, but he knows that he's chasing not a lost cause, because this is down to how it's been judged. But a 6-point advantage going into the third round is a big divide to cross. As the bell goes at the end of the third round, the fighters go back to their respective corners. A lot of effort put in there, certainly. And he's a bit wild at times, Akhmadaliev, but at the same time, as I said, he's a pressure fighter. He comes forward. He keeps that guard nice and tight, nice and high, lets his punches go. Now we just wait for the decision. He's confident. The judges and the referee cannot see the scores as the bout is ongoing. The corners can. And they will know what kind of a lead their man had going into the final round.
The winner is in the red corner, Uzbekistan.
And in the end, it's by a margin of 24 points to 15. So he took the final round as well, 6-3. And that sees Akhmadaliev go into tomorrow's final at light flyweight. And it was in that second round, really, that he ran away with things.
Red corner is represented by India. Blue corner is represented by China.
And here's our second semi-final at light flyweight. In the red corner, that's Lalitha Polipali, 17 years old. Beat Kosei Tanaka of Japan, 12-11, so a narrow win in the previous round. Had yesterday to rest, as did everybody else. And of China, that's Bin Ulf, 18 years old, beat Andy Cruz Gomez of Cuba 16-13 in the quarterfinals. 2 boxers have made it to this stage from India. Let's have 2 from China, and there's Polipali's record in the competition so far. So pretty much had it all his own way until that final quarter-final bout last time out. That would have been a nerve-wracking affair, waiting for the referee to raise his hand. The referee stopped the competition against William Tanko in the opening round. Of lunging in really with the right hand, and then a couple of punches put together by Polipali, all taken on the gloves. Popping out the jab, Polipali, and then following with the right hand. A little bit cagey in the opening stages, unlike our previous light flyweight semi-final. Trying to work to the body there, Ulf. May have scored to the body there, Polipali, with the left hand. Both with that tight high guard, you very rarely see anything else in amateur boxing. It just does not pay to hold those hands low. Referee just telling off the Chinese fighter a little bit there for bending a bit too much at the waist and dipping the head too low. Does like to crouch nice and low in that stance. Polipali very much an orthodox fighter. Chinese opponent switches a little bit between southpaw and orthodox. Let's go that right hand on the back foot, and then a wild right followed by a left, and has a little habit of just shaking a glove every time. I think he feels he may have scored a point, just an indication to the judges ringside possibly that they might want to press that blue button. I'm sure that will have absolutely no bearing on anything, but maybe just a slight superstition, a slight ritual that Binov has fallen into. Into the last few seconds of round one. How have the judges seen this? Well, low scoring, 3-2 to the blue corner after the opening round, and you can see all of those scores are really very similar. Just the one judge scoring no points at all for Polipali in the first round. As I was explaining previously, 3 of those scores from each judge will be selected, and they will be the 3 that are closest. So one of the judges certainly gave it 3-0, 2-2-2, so the 3 2s would have been selected for that fighter, which was Polipali. Those 2s added up, of course, come to 6. You divide them by 3 again, you get to 2. So I think you get my drift now of how this works. It can, of course, be the event of a tie at the end of the 3 rounds, in which case it goes to count back, which is something I will enlighten you upon should it become necessary. So a slight advantage for China going into the second round, and it's a little bit more open at the start of the second 3 minutes. Neither boxer really let his hands go in that first round. Understandable. 9 minutes is a long time. It might not seem like it, but it is when you're in there. Polipali, more than his opponent, likes to occupy the centre of the ring. Lands a good shot there, but on the way in was maybe caught by Ulf, who's got a good habit, a good technique of throwing punches off that back foot. And that was a nice left hand as well. Looked to go straight through the guard of Polipali. Misses with the right cross. Polipali's punches don't quite have the snap of his opponents, most of them being taken on the glove by Binulf, but at the same time, every now and again, one does look like it's getting through. Most of these shots from both fighters really concentrating on the head, neither going to the body too much, which of course is a bigger scoring area, bigger surface area to hit. Well, that was maybe a little bit low. The referee had a good look at it. Referee just making that point, I think, to Ulf, that he needed to keep those punches up a little bit more. And that's good crisp work from Polipali, but again, the guard was high, the guard was tight, they were taking on the gloves. These have to be clean punches. That's a nice little uppercut from the blue corner. The punches have to be clean, not blocked in any way or deflected. Bell goes for the end of the second round, and how the judge has seen that one. Again, it's a fairly low scoring affair, 4-2. Now China leads against India, and in the context of the bout so far, a 3-point lead is going to be something that will be difficult to overhaul. Fatigue, though, can start to play a part here. That's a nice right hand. That would have been a scoring shot for Polipali, but both of those would have been as well for Binulf. Right hand to the side of the head, followed by the left, straight down the middle. Little slap on the cheek there for Polipali from his corner. The Indian fighter really does have to try and force the pace in this final round now. But that was good work from Binulf, as Polipali did try and do just that. Managed to get a couple of potentially scoring shots away himself. And again, he does like to wave those gloves when he feels that he's thrown a good punch, when he feels he's thrown something that should impress the judges. And really what he needs to do for the remainder of this bout is stay away as much as he can. Wasn't really landed with the knuckle part of the glove, that. It was more with the open hand. Does have to be the knuckle part of the glove. Goes downstairs. Thumps a left hand into the body. Polipali trying to work off that jab now a little bit more. The loser of this, of course, is already guaranteed a bronze medal. But he does do that well, fighting on the inside. Just past the midway point of the third and final round. Quite a lot of support for the Chinese fighter in the rows behind me. Just covers up, takes those punches on the gloves. He's tried that uppercut a couple of times, but the left hand was effective. Into the last 30 seconds. And Polipali may have to pour the pressure on here, although of course we don't know how the judges have seen this. He doesn't want to get too reckless. Just backpedal slightly to get a little breather before the final 10 seconds, which has been counted down around me. Bell goes, and a little bit of resignation there, I think, from Polipali as he heads back to his corner, kicks the canvas. There wasn't any great celebration from his Chinese opponent. 7-4 up going into the final round, so there's nothing that can be taken for granted here, that's for sure. The winner will face Murajan Akhmadaliev of Uzbekistan, who was a clear winner against Jade Bornier of the Philippines.
The winner is in the blue corner.
And it is Binov by a margin of 13-8, so won that final round 6-4. Work to the body there. That right hand would have been a scoring punch. And he just had a few more ideas, I would say, than Polipali. Polipali really a come-forward fighter, coming forward in straight lines most of the time. And we have an unusual situation on our hands. In bout number 3, because in the ring from Russia in the blue corner is Magomed Rashid Jabrailov, and in the red corner is supposed to be Omar El Haag of Germany, but he has withdrawn, I am told, so we just need to go through the ceremony and the ritual here. And he will be called to the centre of the ring now, the Russian, and he will be awarded the bout. So it's a walkover for Magomed Rashid Jabrailov. They've got 5 fighters through to the semi-final stage, and he'll get a second rest day today. An AIBA Junior World Champion, Russian champion, ranked at number 1. So he immediately advances to tomorrow's final. No such luxury, though, for the two about to do battle now at bantamweight. This is 56 kilogram limit. That's Alexis Guibert of Cuba. He beat Taran Sogmonyan of Armenia 17-12 in the last round. He's only recently turned 17 at the end of November. And there's his record so far, and they've been wide margins for the most part. Slightly closer against Adilbek Adilzan, 19-15, but the others really have been pretty straightforward for him. Cuba, of course, with a very, very rich history in amateur boxing. You think of the champions down the years, the likes of Felix Savon, Teofilo Stevenson, who's recently passed away, of course. They were both three-time Olympic gold medalists. Mario Kindelan. Freddie Ortiz is in the blue corner from Puerto Rico, 18 years old. Stefano Gaspari was his opponent in the last round. He eased past him, really, 17 points to 9. Puerto Rico, another proud boxing nation. Former champions include the likes of Felix Trinidad. But heavy is the crown, possibly, for Cuban fighters when they enter the ring in any amateur contest. Teofilo Stevenson, of course, may well have gone on to win more than 3 Olympic gold medals. There are a couple of Olympics during the course of his career which Cuba decided not to send athletes to, and he's, well, was adamant that he would have won more if he'd had the opportunity. Cuba of Cuba in the red, Ortiz of Puerto Rico in the blue. Ortiz a little bit more aggressive in the opening stages, fighting out of an orthodox stance. Guibert, a southpaw. Untidy. Just trying to measure the distance with that jab. Right hand was heavy, but it was taken on the gloves, and Ortiz is just beginning to push Guibert around a little bit in there. He's aggressive, he's certainly more confident. That was a nice left hand. I'm not sure if that would have been scored as a point or not. I don't know if it got through absolutely clean. He may have just ricocheted off the right glove. And again, he's just stretching out that left arm, just measuring the distance with the jab. And then piles in behind that backhand. That was a good counter punch, though, there from Guibert. He's telling Ortiz that he's not going to have everything his own way here. He's not going to be bullied. A little bit wild with the overhand right. 3 Cuban fighters have made it to the semi-finals, 2 from Puerto Rico. And again, he just looks for that right hand. That obviously is the weapon for Freddie Ortiz. Right hand from Ortiz may have just sneaked through the guard there. Through the left hook, but that very much landed on the gloves, on the forearms of Guibert. It will be a tall order in the final for either of these two. I mentioned the credentials of Jabrailov of Russia, who, of course, didn't even have to fight with that walkover against Omar El Haag. AIBA Junior World Champion, Russian champion, is ranked at number 1 by most. There was a left hand to the body, just made Ortiz stumble a little bit there. As the bell goes for the end of the first round. And interesting scoring. Just a 2 points scored, and both by the Cuban fighter. He was a bit more aggressive, Ortiz, but none of those landed cleanly. And he was given 2 scores of 3 there by 2 of the judges. But as I explained before, it's the 3 closest scores that are taken. So the scores of 0, 1 and 0 were the ones that were counted, which is why he scored 0. does try and load up for the single punches. Again, just putting out that jab.
Seconds out.
Couldn't even really describe it as a jab. It's not supposed to be a functional punch. A left hand there, though, you saw get through the guard. That would have scored for Guibert. So he's got work to do here, Ortiz. And was caught there again. Guibert just trying to lead off that southpaw jab and then throw that left hand from range. He steps in behind that left hand. And then once he's thrown it, just gets back out of there as quick as he can. An effective tactic in amateur boxing. And again, they're just trying to snap out that southpaw jab. Ducked inside the hook comfortably. May have been caught on the side of the head there by Ortiz. And the Cuban's footwork is proving just a little bit too elusive for the Puerto Rican at the moment. And again there, those are solid shots, but they're both on the gloves. They won't score. That might. Nice short left hand, exchange of punches. A little bit of a slap that really from Guibert as he tried to follow in again behind the jab with the left hand. It was a bit too open. That was nice. Brings a roar of approval from his corner. He's warming to his task here against a fairly one-dimensional opponent in Ortiz. I don't want to be too unkind. But again, he does tend to come forward in straight lines. Guibert generally knows where he is. He's standing right in front of him. And again, that could have been another scoring shot there. Already got that 2-point advantage from the opening round. And he covers up well. Again, 3-punch combination there from Ortiz. They're good heavy shots. You can hear the effort going into them, but they're all caught on the forearms and on the gloves. He really doesn't work to the body at all, the Puerto Rican. Referee just telling Guibert there to listen to him when he issues instructions, issues commands. The bell goes for the end of the second round. And the lead has been stretched by just a single point, 5-4, that has been scored. To Guibert, round 2, and you see the difference between some of the scoring there. Guibert was given a 2 by one judge and then 8 by another. And the other judges gave him a 6, a 5 and a 4, and those would have been the 3 cards that counted, so that adds up to 14. You divide that by 5 and I don't know exactly what you get, but you round it up to 5. Half scores are rounded up. And it's difficult really for Ortiz to catch Guibert cleanly. We've seen him trying to measure that jab and then he'll let that right hand go. Sometimes he'll let, you know, a single shot left hook go as well. And the technique is good. He gets good power behind them both, but Guibert really sees them coming and covers up. And it'll be interesting to see what Ortiz tries to do here. He knows being 3 points down, he can't just come in and flail away, or he will leave himself open to be picked off. Left hand was crisp. And again, in and out with just a single punch. Left to the body, I think would have scored there. Trying to break, trying to get free. Another good left hand to the body, right into the chest. And he's throwing wild overhand rights now, Ortiz. He probably thinks he needs to knock him out to win this, and he could well be right. Again, good three-punch combination, but all landed on the gloves, then did go down to the body and may have scored with that. And he's got to do something pretty special here, Freddie Ortiz, as we head into the final minute of the contest, and I think he knows it. And again, that's good tight work from the Cuban. And he may end up taking this final round by a bit of a margin and stretch that overall lead that he's got. 7-4, won the first 2-0, won the second 5-4. Just staying out of range at the moment. Rarely throws more than a couple of punches. It's pretty repetitive stuff from Guibert, to be honest. Throws out that southpaw jab and then comes in behind it with the left hand. And again, the vest needs to be tucked into the belt as Guibert is ushered over to a neutral corner. And this has been an interesting one to watch because Ortiz started this strongly. He was trying to impose himself on Guibert with his aggression. And he was on the back foot, the Cuban, at times in the opening minute or so. But that rhythm was never established. It didn't become the tempo of the fight as the bell goes for the end of the third round, taking a 3-point lead into the final round. Alexis Guibert, I think, should be fairly confident here as they both go back to their respective corners. Summoned to the centre of the ring by the referee as the gloves are removed. He crosses himself, Ortiz, and waits for the decision. And the winner is in the red corner, as we just heard, Alexis Guibert, 13-5 in the end, so that last round went to him 6-1. That's a pretty wide margin. So he progresses to the final in the Bantamweight section, where he will meet Magomed Rashid Jabrolov of Russia, who got a walkover in his semi-final against Omar El Haag. A move up in weight now to light welterweight. That's Joshua Kelly of England. He beat Carlos Sanchez Velarde of Mexico 13-8 in his previous bout. In the blue corner, we've got Kevin Brown of Cuba. He'll be hoping to repeat the kind of performance we just seen from Guibert there. He beat Greece's Alexandros Tsanakidis 21-20, very, very tight in his previous contest. Tsanakidis came into this tournament with some expectation around him. And you look at the two records, and it does stand out, that win against the Greek. It was tight. Other than that, he did have to take on a home fighter, Gor Yerevan, in the round before that, but has come through a really tough contest last time out. They had a rest day yesterday, so any after effects of that should not be lingering now. And the referee from Kazakhstan is Alisher Altayev. And there are your judges. Judges and referees decided very, very soon before each bout. Kevin Brown's the #1 at this weight in his home country, as you would expect, having got this far. Both 18 years old. Kelly, one of 4 Englishmen who's in action this afternoon and this evening. England didn't quite send a full complement. 8 boxers they sent over. Cuba sent a full squad of 10. 1 in each weight division is the limit. This is 64 kilograms. Kelly the first to throw. Left hand caught on the forearms of Brown. The arena beginning to fill up. A left and a right from Kelly. I don't think either scored, neither really seemed to get through. Cautious stuff from both of these in the opening minute. Left hand from Kelly caused Brown to take a backward step. That was the first time we'd really seen that jab there from Brown. He really flicked that one out, and it was a nice little slip there from Kelly. Amateur boxing on a real high in England and all around Great Britain at the moment after the London 2012 Olympics, where the GB squad achieved a lot of success. And so far, all of those who won medals have retained their amateur status. Anthony Joshua, Luke Campbell, Fred Evans. Anthony a go-go as well. Trip there for Kelly. Finds himself on the canvas, but not as the result of a punch. Kelly losing his balance slightly as he tried to throw the right hand. Well, neither really wanting to commit, both trying to draw the lead from the other man, and neither is willing to provide it. And that was a good punch. That was a good punch. right hand sending Brown down to the canvas. And he responded in kind. I think he was a little bit stung by that. And 3-2 it scored to the Englishman at the end of round 1. Ahead on all of the judges' scorecards there, apart from one who scored at a draw at 1-1. Choosing not to take a stool. He's been called down by that towel. And I think he was irritated with himself by the knockdown. Well, the right hand that sent him down was caught on the forearm. He was just slightly off balance, really, as he took it. And that's what resulted in him losing his feet.
Second time.
That was a good left hand from Brown. And again, a left to the body, that would have scored, I'm sure. And he's letting some punches go now, putting Kelly under some pressure. His hand speed is good as well. And the second round already a lot more interesting than the first. And that is very much the way. The fascinating thing about watching amateur boxing, whether it's at junior level or whether it's at senior level, is that very often fighters do not know much about the person they are fighting. They may turn up at the start of a day not even knowing who they're going to fight that day. First 3 minutes can often be a getting to know you exercise. They have to realise very quickly how they might need to adapt their tactics, what may or may not work, because there is no time to waste in there. Kelly moving a lot more in this second round than he was in the first. Flurries of punches from both on the inside there. Set himself well for the left hand there, Brown. Steps in behind the jab. Good purchase to the punches. Slightly clumsy that from Kelly. Trading on the inside, and it's good to see there's some leather being thrown there, all right. But it's so difficult to know in that kind of an exchange what may or may not have scored. And that was another good left hand, and he finds himself down, demonstrating to the referee that he's fine to continue. That's the second time he's been off his feet. Both times he's been off balance. And I don't think he's caught a clean punch. So although it looks good on Kelly's part, it really doesn't make very much difference at all. And the bell goes for the end of the second. Let's see how this one is scored. And he's just snaked into the lead there now, Brown. 8-7 at the end of round 2. 6-4. He took the second round. It's these exchanges on the inside which are so difficult to judge. The judges at ringside, who are a lot closer than me, do have a better view, but there's a lot of punches being let go there in a very short space. He's been told to keep his head up there by the referee. Alisher Altayev from Kazakhstan, the man in the middle, the third man in the ring. Well, this really could go either way in the final round. Just the 1 point slight problem there. Just a little bit too much water, too much moisture on the vest and face of Kelly. So the referee making sure that gets mopped off before we go into the final 3 minutes. Slight confusion at the start of the third there. They've both been sent to neutral corners. There was a delay of some kind, and then as the bell went, he ushered them into their respective coloured corners, but there wasn't really time. Head snapped back a little bit there from Josh Kelly. And as all Cubans, Brown is a cute customer. He knows he's got the 1 point lead, and he will not want to give it away. The danger for Kelly here is that the longer this round goes on, if he doesn't feel that he's scored, he will have to go and look for points, which may leave him open to counters. When you look at Brown, that may be exactly what he's thinking. He's caught on the ropes a little bit there, though, but immediately covers up, gets the gloves up around the head. Forearms, elbows dropped into the rib cage area to try and cover up that body as well. Again, it's good work from Kelly, but I'm not sure if any of those have got through. They'll be having an effect, but maybe not on the scoreboard. And that left hand, just low above the belt, could have got a point there for Brown. And again, he's taking some punishment here. These are some heavy punches that he's having to protect himself from, and I'm not surprised he just circles the ring and tries to get out of the way, because at the moment he's finding himself on the end of a few here. Being told to engage by the referee. They were both just taking a little bit of a breather there. That was a nice looking uppercut from Brown. Just saw the head of the Englishman snap up a little bit. But it's all action in there. Kelly just walking forward, trying to put Brown under some more pressure, trying to let those punches go. And he looks the stronger at the moment, Kelly. Maybe of the two, he looks a little bit fitter. Just holding on a bit here, Brown. Referees are always very quick to tell the fighters to break. And that was a good couple of left hands. They stung a bit into the last 10 seconds. This is going to be tight. I do think in the final round, though, that in terms of scoring shots, maybe Brown should come out of this on top. As the bell goes, we'll soon find out. 8-7, of course, to the Cuban going into the final round. Neither corner giving much away in there. There's no celebration from the Cubans, nor is there from the English. Well, let's see.
The winner is in the blue corner, Cuba.
And it goes to Brown of Cuba, and he's taken that last round comprehensively. 8-3. He's been given the third, so 16-10 in total. That's a wide margin for that third round, but that was always the danger. As discussed previously, that Kelly would have to come on the front foot more, looking for the points, and would get picked off. Well, Kevin Brown will be up against Lester Martinez of Guatemala or Parviz Bagirov of Azerbaijan, as we just admire some of his good work from that final third round. There's Lester Martinez of Guatemala. 17 years old, two-time Central American champion. And in the blue corner, Parviz Bagirov of Azerbaijan, 18 years old, and there's his record so far, and they've been comfortable enough margins. That win against Dominica's Carlos Adames, 22-15, that was a good win. Pan American youth champion. Bagirov got past Eimantas Stanionis of Lithuania 13-7, and then a very one-sided affair against Manuel Orsinger of Germany, 20 points to 3. Martinez, the only Guatemalan fighter who's got to the quarter-final stage. Sent 3 fighters over. This, of course, again at light welterweight, 64 kilograms. Bagirov a southpaw, Martinez orthodox. And it's Bagirov who's made a pretty quick start here, covering up the Guatemalan. Heavy punches these from Bagirov, but most of them are hitting the arms and the gloves. He does look the bigger man of the two. Might seem like a strange thing to say because, of course, there are weight limits. But different fighters have different frames. It's a little bit awkward, Lester Martinez. Crouch style. Just let his head go a little bit low as he comes in sometimes. And he's not exactly weathering a storm here. But he's on the back foot at the moment. He is having to take a few shots from Bagirov, but as originally indicated, and we've seen this in a few bouts already this afternoon, and you see it a lot in whichever tournament you happen to watch. Somebody can set an early pace, but it's just a question of how many of these are scoring, and I would say not that many at the moment with the naked eye. That early pace that was set by Bagirov has just dropped a little bit. Made to miss by Martinez. And a nice little jab there from the Guatemalan, just snapped out. Again, dipping at the knees, bending at the waist to try and keep out of trouble. These are solid shots, and he felt that was a bit low. And that's not the reason for the delay, it's because the shoelace of Bagirov is undone. into the last 10 seconds of the round. And it'll be really interesting to see how they've scored this. Well, 3-1 to the Guatemalan. 2-point lead at the end of the opening round, and threes right across the board for Lester Martinez. But that's a very good example of how the scoring works. The scores of Bagirov 1-2, 1-5, 5. The three closest scores are the 1, the 2 and the 1. So the 2 5s do not enter the equation. 4 divided by 3 is 1 1/3, rounded down to just a single point. And he did throw most of the shots in that first round, there's no doubt about that. In terms of volume of punches, he was the aggressor, he was on the front foot, but they didn't get through.
Second time.
Works to the body a little bit more there. A couple of good punches from Bagirov come in. And maybe he's a little bit perplexed by that scoring in the first round, but rather than just throw to the head, which was what he was generally doing in the first round, he's trying to work to the body a bit more. And again, he just gestures there, Martinez, that he thinks that might have been a little bit low. It seemed right on the belt to me. And again, he's really trying to set the pace here, Bagirov. He's trying to bully Martinez a bit, but it's a difficult thing to do. He's awkward, the Guatemalan. When you get into close quarters, that head does come forward a bit, does duck a bit. A perfect example of it there. It's possible, of course, that even though a lot of these punches from Bagirov aren't scoring, that the volume of them might start to take its toll. And again, I do think he might be having more success with those body shots. A little bit ragged, Martinez, at times in the second round. He really is being put under pressure here. And if you're a little bit confused by the loud cheers when the scores for the first round were put up, that is because Azerbaijan and Armenia are neighbours, and of course for that reason, as is the case all around the world, there is an intense rivalry. So whoever Azerbaijan are fighting in this venue will get the support of the crowd, and we can hear it again now. Holding those hands a bit low now, Bagirov. I think he feels that there's not an awful lot coming back a lot of the time, but maybe it's a sign that he's getting a little bit tired. In the opening 2 rounds, he set quite a fearsome pace. And if he gets back to his corner at the end of this second and finds that again he hasn't scored as heavily as he would like to, then he may get a bit dispirited. He was caught by a right hand a few seconds ago, just on the way in there from Martinez. He just tries to get his feet moving as we head towards the final few seconds of the second round. Again, a second round that had significantly more action than the first. So how have the judges seen this one? 3-1. It was at the end of the first round, and that 2-point advantage has been maintained. So fairly differing scorelines there for both of them, an 8 and a 9 on both of their cards there. Neither of those will have counted. 8-6, 5-5. And he's really sucking in the air there, Bagirov, in the blue corner. Just trying to cool him down by waving that towel in front of him. It's not overly warm in the arena here. The Karen Demircian Sports Complex. 2009 Junior World Championships were held here. Used to having boxing. He's hard to catch, Martinez. He does duck quite low when you get in close. So he knows he's got work to do here, the Azeri. And I think he feels that he had more success in that second round because he did go at it more aggressively. He did try and sustain that tempo for longer than he did in the first. But Martinez throwing back after an initial flurry from Bagirov. Oh, it's good work on the inside though from Martinez. A couple of nice short punches there. They could both have scored. He's looking a bit tired, Bagirov, if I'm honest. We did see him breathing pretty heavily in the corner between rounds. Bit of a wild swing with the left hand there from Martinez. But he covers up well, doesn't he? And he's looking a bit weary as well as he just tries to skip out of range. Into the second half of the third and final round. And the punches don't quite have the same snap that they had earlier on from both fighters. He's still walking forward, Bagirov. He's still trying to find the target. But again, that was just a sneaky little left that popped out of nowhere from Martinez. It won't have had any great effect on Bagirov at all. But it may well have scored. It was on the side of the ring where, to be honest, only one, maximum two judges could really have seen it. Nice crisp left hand from the Guatemalan, who then again covers up. He's only got a few seconds remaining. It'll be interesting to see the reactions of both of these when the bell goes. I think Martinez may be cautiously optimistic that he's got this. He may well have stretched that 2-point lead in the final round. As the bell goes at the end of another full-blooded contest, 3-1 to Martinez at the end of round one. The second round was scored 5 apiece, so 8-6 going into the third and final round. And he's had a good tournament, whatever happens, Lester Martinez, as I mentioned, beating Dominica's Pan American Youth Champion Carlos Adames 22-15 in the quarter-final. 17 years old, Bagirov has got the age advantage on him.
The winner is in the red corner.
And a big cheer for the Guatemalan, and he did stretch that lead in the third round. Won that one 5-3, so goes through 13-9. It's a popular win with the Armenian crowd as well. And the defensive work from him, as we can see, is fairly awkward at times. But he does make it difficult for his opponent to get in close at any stage.
Bout number 334, please come through. Red corner is represented by Russian Federation. Blue corner is represented by India.
Always working hard to stay just out of range.
Just number 1, Morocco. Just number 2, Philippines. Just number 3, Colombia. Just number 4, Turkey. Just number 5, Ecuador.
We have a bout here at middleweight. In the red corner, Magomed Madiev of Russia. Fairly comfortable win so far, getting past Polonikis Kalamaris of Greece, 12-8 in the last round. There's Sandeep of India. He got past Aziz John Mamatov of Uzbekistan, 18-7 in his previous encounter. Oh, they've been pretty comfortable wins so far. Middleweight contested at 75 kilograms. Sandeep almost wasn't quite ready as the bell went there. You can see he is the taller man of the two. Quick start. A nice left hand from Madiev. Brought a gasp of appreciation from the crowd as it thudded into the left-hand side of that head guard. The shorter man very much looking to get in and out, throw the punch and then get out of range, because the reach advantage here is very much with Sandeep. If he can try and get that jab working. Throws a wild right hand. Quick left hook as well from Madiev. Didn't find its target. He wasn't in range, but it was well thrown. And that was another good left hand from Madiev. He does really execute that punch nicely. He's trying to draw that right hand lead from Sandeep, and then when he slips underneath it, just throw that left. And he really gives it everything he's got as well. Twists from the hip and gets plenty behind it. I think there might be a bit of blood from the nose, actually, for Sandeep, and there is. And I would wager that that is the result of one of those left hooks from Madiev. He really does climb into them, right from his boots up through his hips. And it is a clash of styles, this. Sandeep, as I've alluded to, the much taller man. Madiev, more squat, stocky kind of fighter. And again, he immediately looks for that left hand, and I think he knows that that is his weapon. And it is, or at least it looks like it could be, a fairly savage one. And Madiev, I think, feels that he might be able to stop this sooner rather than later. He's got the taste for it. And Sandeep can't really make that reach advantage tell. He's not really established that jab. He can't keep Madiev off him. And again, the blood is still coming. Referees have to pay every attention, of course, to the fighter's well-being. With the blood coming from the nose, doesn't necessarily mean that it's broken from Sandeep, but it does make the breathing difficult. Short right hand that time from Madiev. Blood can always trickle into the back of the throat and the fighter ends up having to swallow it, which can cause an upset stomach as well, so it is a problem. At the end of the first round, though, it's drawn. It's scored 4 apiece. Sandeep given an 8 by one of the judges there. Madiev staying on his feet. He certainly threw the more eye-catching punches, but tied up at the end of the first 3 minutes. Looks very, very fresh. Well, a good example there of Sandeep managing to throw a couple of punches himself and then stay away. He does tend to slap a little bit with that right hand, and of course any scoring shot has got to be landed with the knuckle part of the glove. So 4-4. Just making sure that the retractable stool was taken away from the blue corner. I think the scoring of that first round will have really encouraged the Indian fighter. He did catch a couple of good, clean, strong left hands. And it may just have made Madiev think a little bit as well. Throws a jab there, Madiev, really for the first time. He really does set his feet for that left hand. And more blood coming from the nose. And you can see him just trying to suck that blood up, which he really has no choice but to do. Blood still coming though. No sooner does the referee wipe it away than it starts to trickle down that nose again. Left hand would have scored there, I'd say, from Madiev. It wasn't the strongest you'll see, certainly not the strongest we've seen from him. The referee just warning him about punching with the open hand, but that was a nice punch right through the guard. A shorter left hand that time. And he does really just let it go as a matter of course, which is exactly what you should do. It becomes almost a reflex. Being forced to cover up there though as Sandeep puts together a combination of his own. I don't think any of those would have scored. And that was a nice uppercut there from Sandeep. Really planted his feet and threw the punch in towards the body as well. Quite an unusual shot that. And a shot that Lucien Butte throws a lot, used to throw a lot. Keeping it at range here, Sandeep, more effectively than he did in the first round. He seems to be growing in confidence a bit. And again, they're just going to wipe away that blood. The referee has a good look at it. Safety is paramount, of course. He may have walked onto a left hand there as he tried to get his own right hand lead away, Sandeep. But he's just taking a step back when he lets a punch go. In the first round, he was maybe a little bit guilty of throwing punches and then staying where he was. He needed to stay on the move. And again, as we reach the end of the second, it'll be very interesting to see how they've scored this. And the Russian has opened up a lead. He gets that one 5-2. It's the 5, the 6, and the 5 there that will have been selected for the Russian. Never mind those 2 2s. So that gives him a 3-point advantage. He didn't land as cleanly in the second round as he did in the first. But he still looks very, very fresh, Madiev. Sandeep, a more languid kind of fighter. Longer limbs, longer levers. He's really stalking his opponent here. He's come out to fight in this third round and he's throwing wild punches here. And again, he's just given a little warning there, Madiev, for making contact with the inside of the glove, but he was so open there, Sandeep. He's just been wading forward, throwing anything he could think of. He's tightened it up a little bit now, and really had to, because if he continued like that, he was tailor-made for a Madiev left hand, and one just sneaked through the guard again there. Drew, and good response from the crowd. Well, Sandeep's doing the right thing. I mean, he does have to go for this here. He's 3 points behind, and he'll know that. But it's difficult to see this working. Again, a right hand, caught with the guard low. He was backpedaling, but he did make contact. Again, another solid shot. Just trying to wind up with that right hand now. But the problem he's got is that it's thrown from such distance that Madiev can see it coming and just drop his elbows onto it. Jab was nice and crisp there from Sandeep. Madiev looks very, very fit. He's only got a minute left in the contest. And really all he needs to do is stay away. It remains to be seen as to whether he'll actually do that. Fighters generally don't when they should. And just getting rid of that blood, and his mouth's hanging open there, just pushing the gum shield out, sucking in the air. He's very, very tired in there, Sandeep. The blood could have been a problem, as I mentioned, for the breathing. It may mean that you've got to try and get some air in through your mouth, which is not ideal by any stretch. He's the younger man, Sandeep, as well. 17 to Madiev's 18. Into the last 10 seconds. And I feel fairly confident that it's going to be the red corner that comes out on top here. 3-point lead going into the final round, and I think he'll have stretched that as well. Magomed Madiev. It will be a surprise, to say the least, if he is not going through to the middleweight final. Well, he did stretch the lead, 6-3 in the final round, so he goes on to win the contest 15-9, Magomed Madiev, and it was a good display. Brave stuff from Sandeep. He never stopped rather coming forward, despite the damage to his nose that he sustained as early as the first round. But the Russian is compact. He's got some power as well. Quite short for a middleweight. He's just walking past in front of me now, and he's obviously got himself into very, very good condition. He will generally be up against fighters taller than him in that weight category, and he's obviously very used to it. And he will be fighting the winner of this contest. That's Davlet Bagabatov of Kazakhstan. He's in the red corner. And across the way is a Ukrainian. And in the last round, he got past Azerbaijan's junior world champion Bagabatov. That's Alexander Kishniak of the Ukraine. He beat Eduardo Gulet of Cuba by 10 points in his last contest. There we go, Eduardo Dinza Gulet. Pushed by Ihsan Erdogan. But Bagabatov got a good win under his belt against Orkan Mayili, 8-6. From Azerbaijan, the Junior World Championship silver medalist. Both 17. Referee calling them both back to the centre of the ring, insisting that they touch gloves correctly. It is a rule that they have to do so at the start of every bout. Interestingly, it's also a rule that they're not to do so again. Kishniak throwing a solid combination, and these two are going head to head almost literally at the minute. That was a neat little uppercut from Bagabatov. Both with very tight, compact stances. That peekaboo kind of style. Looking to get in close and throw punches from short range. And really, it's like watching the same fighter wearing different coloured vests. Style-wise, they are very, very similar. Flurry of punches. A left hand may have caught the side of the head guard there, but I think it was probably deflected in off the glove, as were those 2 or 3 punches thrown by Kishniak as well. Ukraine's got 2 boxers through to this stage of the competition. This is the only representative from Kazakhstan left in Bagabatov. Good 4-5 punch flurry there from Kishniak. That was a nice stinging jab. The volume of punches, the greater volume of punches, is coming from the man in the blue corner. Looking to go to the body there by Bagabatov. And Kishniak just holds that guard so tight, and then just springs into action, throws 4 or 5, and then gets those gloves back up. Throws more combinations of punches than you will see a lot of fighters throw. In amateur boxing anyway. Isn't always just looking for the single shot. Just getting ticked off there, Kishniak. I think that was a clash of heads. The hand speed is good from Kizhniak. But as always, the crucial thing is who was thrown. The more eye-catching punches, the scoring punches, and it is the Ukrainian 3-1. He leads rather at the end of round one, and it's those 3 threes that will have been taken and counted up. And his defence is very, very tight. Kizhniak, he's the fighter in blue. And then when he does break out of it, he throws a lot of punches in a short space of time from very short range. And I think the styles, certainly the style of Bagapatov is suiting him. They are really just standing straight in front of each other. They don't exactly have to go looking. Looking to punish Bagapatov with that jab, and it is a ramrod jab at times as well. Good example of it there. And the second round a little bit different to the first. Making a little bit more use of the ring. A good combination again from Kizhniak. Soaked up though by Bagapatov. Bagapatov may have just been caught by a right hand there as he tried to get inside to throw one of his own. Fighting out of Kazakhstan, which is where the World Amateur Championships are being held next October in Almaty. Kizhniak flicking out a left hand which caught Bagapatov and then retreating into that tight guard. It's almost like a tortoise-like defence. Disappears from view almost. Neither of these two really look to the body all that much. And again, now they are just standing straight in front of one another, as they were for the duration of the first round. And I do think that this kind of fight is suiting Kizhniak more than it is suiting Bagapatov. Kazakh just dropping his hands, trying to tempt Kizhniak into taking the initiative. Amateur boxing in many ways is more of a counter-punching style. Drawing the lead of the other man can be just as important. 8-3 to Ukraine now after he takes that second round. 5-2 Kizhniak. It's the 5 and the 6 that will score for him there. So comfortable 8-3 lead. He's very tight, he's very well organised. And even though he is standing right in front of Aibatov, that guard from the elbow right up to the glove is so tight and streamlined that it's very, very difficult to get anything through.
Seconds out.
That was a nice right-hand counter. Aibatov was trying to seize the initiative there, trying to be the aggressor, trying to walk Kizhniak down. Left hand to the body from Kizhniak, who's moving a bit more. The winner of this will meet Magomed, easy for me to say, Madiev of Russia, we've just seen defeat Sandeep of India 15-9. And were it to be Alexander Kizhniak, I think that could be a very good fight. Got similar builds. Kizhniak, I would say, would be the taller. But this is not over yet. Just getting a little telling off there for turning his back, Kizhniak, as he tried to just jog over towards his own corner and buy himself a little bit of time. And that's exactly what the referee's saying to him now. Do not turn your back. Kizhniak just bouncing on the balls of his feet, keeping his distance as we head into the final minute. Well ahead going into this round with an 8-3 advantage, and I don't think that Aibatov, to be honest, has managed to make any impression on that. He's just run out of ideas a little bit, the Kazakh. It is difficult against the Ukrainian. He just gives you so few openings. A signal from the corner there to Kizhniak, which you won't have seen, it was just off screen. It was for him to keep those legs moving, keep those feet dancing, stay out of the way. This one, they will feel in his corner, is in the bag, I'm sure. Quick caution there for pushing. As the bell goes to the end of the third and final round. Magomed Madiev of Russia awaits in tomorrow's final in the middleweight category, 75 kilograms. Well, no surprise there, and he took the final round 5-2 as well to open up what in the end was an 8-point gap, 13-5 victory for Alexander Kizhniak, and he was the dominant force throughout. And very consistent as well, scoring 3 points, then 5, then 5. Clicked through the gears to a degree. He never stopped coming forward, Aibatov. But he just didn't really have the combinations or the variety to trouble Kizniak. And the next two bouts are the two semi-finals at heavyweight. The first one is between Andrei Stotsky and Jai Tapu Opataya. Stotsky from Russia, Opataya from Australia. Stotsky in the red corner. Opataya has just climbed in the blue corner. Well, Stotsky hasn't lost since April 2011. He beat Oybek Sharipov in the last round, the junior world champion from Uzbekistan, and he hadn't lost since July 2010. So that was a tremendous win. Opataya, a London Olympian, AIBA junior world champion. So this could be a very good contest indeed. He beat Eric Ruiz 15-12 from Cuba in his previous encounter. So plenty of credentials for both of these two. 91 kilograms heavyweight. Quick chorus of Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. The Carrington Merchant Sports Complex in Yerevan. Not something I thought I'd ever hear here. Opataya southpaw, Stotsky orthodox. Stotsky feinting with the feet, trying to draw a lead from Opataya, who did throw a left hand and it was clumsy and poorly executed, but it may have scored. Clumsy looking attack there from Opataya. Just came walking into Stotsky really. Use of the shoulder there from Opataya. Didn't meet with the approval of the referee. Nice right hand from Stotsky, no great power behind it. But it caught Opataya slightly off balance. Again, as he comes in with the left hand, overbalances and the shoulder goes into Stotsky, and the referee again has a quick word. He's a little bit clumsy at times, Opataya. Throws that left hand, the backhand for him from a long way out. It's got a long way to travel before it gets to Stotsky, which does make it unlikely to score just because of the amount of time he's got to see it. Punching on the back of the head, I'm pretty sure. Although Opataya also being given a quick telling off for turning his back. It's an awkward style he's got. And this clash of orthodox and southpaw at the moment is making this a fairly untidy fight. As we go into the opening few seconds of round one, where to my eye very little has been landed. Well, 3-2 to Russia at the end of the opening round. Those threes across the board, in the middle rather, the 4 and the 5 haven't counted, and you can take any 3 of those 2s for Opetaia. He does seem rather off balance a lot of the time, Opetaia, when he throws his punches. But he's an awkward customer.
Second time.
He will have experience of fighting southpaws, Stotsky. I'm sure of that. Well-travelled amateurs, experienced amateurs, even at junior level, always do. But it is difficult. The idea is to try and keep his left foot outside the right foot of Tupaia, move counterclockwise. It's easier said than done. And the referee at one point in the first round did just have a word with both of them for treading on each other's feet, which is something which is bound to happen when you have orthodox up against southpaw. And he has got the 1 point advantage so far, the Russian. Working away to the body, Stotsky. Already 2 Russians have won through to tomorrow's finals. Stotsky trying to make that number 3. Opetaia, the last Australian left in the competition. Hands held low by Stotsky. More orthodox tight guard from Opetaia. And they've both found it rather difficult to find their range. Again, Opetaia there lunging in with the left hand. Again, it's untidy as it was in the first, shoulders clashing. Into the final few seconds, and this has been just as tight and difficult to pick as the first, really. Well, it's exactly the same. 3-2 once more, so Russia and Stotsky now have a 2-point lead. It's those 3 threes that score for Stotsky, and it's the 3 twos that count for Opetaia. That right round the side of the head there from Opetaia will have scored. I think. It possibly wasn't with the knuckle part of the glove, but it did make contact.
Second time.
Referee again just waves them back together. Left hand sneaked through there from Stotsky. And Opataya is going to have to try and do something a little bit different in this third and final round, and he's come out with that in mind. He's looking more aggressive. Left hand will have scored there. Again, the way he throws it is rather odd. He's not really balanced. It didn't make particularly clean contact, but it did make contact unimpeded with the head of Stotsky. It will score. Again, comes in with a barrage of punches, walking forward as he throws them. He rarely seems to set himself, Opataya, when he lets his hands go. Stotsky a much more orthodox kind of fighter, not just in terms of stance, but in terms of everything else he does, really. Stotsky may get some opportunities of his own here. Stotsky really doing the sensible thing and staying out of trouble. Again, that rather open left hand shoots out. Although that's a good counter from the Russian. A left may have scored there. Opataya again, guilty a little bit of turning his back there. He's finding the target now, Stotsky. Did have that great win, of course, last time out, beating Uzbekistan's Oybek Sharipov, inflicting his first defeat since July 2010. And Stotsky, as we've said, himself hasn't lost since April 2011. And he's not going to lose this one either. The bell goes. It's the red corner who took a 2-point lead into the final round. Crosses himself for luck. He looks weary, doesn't he, there, Opataya? He's certainly put everything into that. Well, the final round was scored 5 apiece, but that puts Stotsky through by 11 points to 9. He becomes the third Russian today to make it through to a final. Magomed Rashid Jabrailov didn't even have to fight to get through to his final. Magomed Madiev did, and so did Stotsky. It was awkward against Opataya, who put up a good fight. He's a difficult customer. And the final bout of this afternoon's session is between Pavel Wierzbicki of Poland, there he is, 18 years old, in the red corner, and Daniel Williams of England in the blue corner. Got past Marin Middleweight comfortably, scored a stoppage as well. Williams, one of 4 English fighters in action today. Joshua Kelly, we've seen earlier on, lose his bout. And a stoppage against Azerbaijan's Mamadi Rahil in his last outing. Williams was 6-5 up at the time. RSCH means referee stop contest head. You may also see referee stopped contest I, which stands for injury. Difference between the two being that a fighter can be stopped for constant bleeding to the nose, for example, that's an injury. Whereas if he's taken a number of punches to the head and the referee feels he's disorientated and unable to continue for that reason, and that would be referee stop contest head. Williams slightly more upright of the two. Wierzbicki tends to dip into that stance a little bit more. He delivered a good right hand there, which certainly cuffed the left-hand side of Williams' head. Well, you already know our finalists at light flyweight, bantamweight, light welterweight and middleweight. And one of them at heavyweight, who is going to meet Andrei Stotsky in tomorrow's final. Later on it'll be flyweights, lightweights, welterweights, light heavyweights and super heavyweights. Williams the one creeping forward, but again, as he tried to flick out the jab there, he was caught by Wierzbicki. Inching forward all the time, Williams. Trying to measure that jab, but it's proving easier said than done at the moment. He's quick on his feet, the Pole. Rather sluggish looking uppercut from Wierzbicki. The opening round goes Poland's way, 5-2. One judge even gave him a 6. But it's 2 5s and a 4. That will have been the 3 selected scores there, I think. So that's quite a big gap to open up at the end of the first round. Williams with a good left hand there, but for the most part, he's been beaten to the punch by Wierzbicki, who's just a bit lighter on his feet. He's got a bit more spring in his step, a bit more snap in his wrist at the moment. Williams, though, with what you would describe as a more economical style, Wierzbicki is very energetic, very active. There's a lot going on there. He may tie it as we come towards the later minutes of the fight, and again just a little bit too much moisture. Well, Vaseline may be on the face of Williams. And again, it's following a similar theme to the first round. Williams just shuffling forward. Wierzbicki with lightning in-out raids. Trying to get a punch away and then disappear. The Englishman's corner encouraging him to cut the gap and get in a little bit closer. And that was a nice left hand that might have scored from Williams. That was a little bit wild. But I think that's what the corner are talking about. He needs to put a little bit more pressure maybe on Wierzbicki and step in a little bit faster. You could see it there rather than just shuffle forward. He took a couple of half strides almost. Both on the end of each other's jabs there. As he moved on to the inside, he was being encouraged to repeat that. Plenty of advice coming from the corner, from the blue corner. That was a nice right hand. Exchanging blows there. Both men could have scored points in that exchange. Again, the action is warming in the second round. Just coming to the boil. The place in the final of the heavyweight division at stake here, of course. Chance to walk away with a Youth World Boxing Championship gold medal. As the bell goes, and that has gone to Poland by the 1.65 in that round. 9 points given by one of the judges. Williams is scoring a lot more consistent. Those 3 5s will have been the 3 selected scores. So he's got some work to do in the final round. 4 points he is behind now. But the approach he took in that round did work better than the one he took in the first. He was just a little bit too lethargic. Caught a right hand there. And in these kind of contests, if you find yourself having slipped behind by 3 points at the end of the first round, it's a long way back. You don't have a lot of time. Slow starts cannot be afforded, physically or mentally. There's a good right uppercut in there from Wierzbicki. And that was a nice right hand from Williams. And that's going to be a standing count for the pole. Referee gets to 8. And Williams now will take real encouragement from that, because at youth level, if you're subjected to a second standing 8 count in a round, then that's you done. So if Williams can do that again, then he's won. The rules go that if you take 2 in 1 round, then you've lost. If you take 3 in the contest, then you've lost, and that's a standing 8 for Williams as well. That was a nice right hand from Wierzbicki, signalling to the referee that he's absolutely fine to continue, but that was a good, solid, clean shot. There's a bit of blood coming from the nose there, which I'm sure will have been as a result of that punch. Well, Wierzbicki has got the 4-point lead on the cards, but he has taken that count, and he's unloading on Williams. So he's not looking to run away and hide here. He's going to stand and trade by the look of it, which might not be the wisest thing. He knows that another punch like the last one he delivered and Williams will be done. But also the danger is that if he takes another one, so is he. And given that he had that lead going into the final round, I'm not sure whether his corner, in fact one of his corner, has got his head in his hands at the moment. He's now put a towel over his head and doesn't even want to watch. And I know why that is. It's because of the way that their man is choosing to fight this fight. They know that if he stays away, then he's going to win this fight. But if he insists rather, on engaging with Williams, he is running a big, big risk here. It's macho stuff from Wierzbicki. Can Williams make him pay for it? Well, into the final minute. And if anything, since that initial count that was taken by the pole, he has been the stronger. He's come back from it very, very well. And there's not a lot left in those punches from Williams. And the pole almost waving him in there. You really don't see that very often. Those were 2 or 3 solid punches he let go there, Daniel Williams. There's a Polska ring out around the arena as we head into the final few seconds. The bell goes and the Polish corner celebrate. They feel that they've got the win. They were 4 points up going into the final round, but I think words might be had with their man about the way he fought that final round. They were both on the edge of the cliff there, having taken a standing 8 count each. One more for either, and they'd have been out. And Williams has put every single ounce of effort into that final round. He gave himself every chance, stopping Wierzbicki in his tracks. But then a few seconds later, exactly the same thing happened to him.
The winner is in the red corner, Poland.
And the winner is Wierzbicki, 18-13. In the end, so he extended it by a single point in that final round, winning it 7-6. Lots of action. And so he goes into the heavyweight final, where he will be up against Andrei Stotsky of Russia. And so we now know the lineups for the finals of light flyweight, bantamweight, light welterweight, middleweight and heavyweight. As we have a look at those standing 8 counts, that was the first one for Wierzbicki. But he came back well. There's 2 or 3 clean punches landed there. And that right hand is right down the middle. So half of today's semi-finals are now over. We'll be back later on this evening with the flyweight, lightweights, welterweights, light heavyweights and super heavyweights. This afternoon we've seen boxers from Uzbekistan, China, Guatemala, Ukraine, Poland, 2 from Cuba and 3 from Russia make it through to tomorrow's finals. Join us again later on for more from the AIBA Youth World Boxing Championships here in Yerevan. What's the score?